first game and see what direction it is going to take. Team Immune going to be your side on blue side, first pick and first ban for this game. They can't say who won the coin toss to be exact, but time to find out what they're going to go for. So looking in the ban phase, it has been quite a few storylines with some of the individual heroes coming out here. Kwang was going to be one of the topics I was going to talk about, but Kwang being banned away, such a dominant pick coming in from the off lane and the jungle. But this tournament has been decided by Richter, by Bellica, Decker, Rampage, all of these picks getting high priority in both the pick and the ban phase. So I wonder which one Indecisive have to take away.
Yeah, it might just be the Rampage again. Kwang Rampage bans. We've seen that a lot in this tournament as well. And then that leaves up open some of those picks you were mentioning. The Richter that can be flexed into a few roles, but is mainly played in the support role. He is so scary there. And we have like the sort of tier 2 junglers with Kwang and Rampage probably being the top tier. And junglers we have the second tier, the Chimera, we have the Crunch, sort of those heroes that get outshined, but outshine like all the other heroes. And then for Indecisive, we have like those assassin junglers that Immune doesn't really play.
All right, well, Team Immune going to take the Richter as their first pick with that flex potential. Of course, could be going to Shana, but most likely going to Shynn in that supporting role. I think had an absolute montage-worthy moment on that Richter pick previously in the tournament as well. But, they've kind of had to pick only one, right? I'd say we've mentioned quite a few champions that have had high priority, and Indecisive have got their next two. So the Bellica, unsurprising, most likely going towards TehAssid, but also towards ManQ as well. And we know that ManQ prefers kind of those enchanter supports, giving him the Bellica, giving him the Decker. So they have options to Indecisive.
Yeah, ManQ loves his Bellica. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick it up. They could also go for something where they just don't pick their mid laner next, but they are not going to do that. They're just going to pick the Gideon. So we are going to be pretty sure that the Bellica is going to go in the support role, Gideon in mid lane. So a lot of mages have been picked up by Indecisive, but no bruisers quite yet.
Yeah, just thinking about what's still available. Sevarog still on the board. Steel still on the board as well. Grux still on the board. I wonder how long that's going to take until we get Sir Gruxington III making their appearance in these games. We're going to have to see, of course, as you say, Gideon into that mid lane, which does show their hand a little bit with that Bellica going into the supporting role. And I'm expecting this to go in towards maybe some jungle picks coming out here for Team Immune. Get Shana that more supportive hero that he can really excel on, or give him something that he might be able to carry on as well. The Chimera pick is going to be going their way. And now this last one, what do you think Team Immune should take here?
I mean, it's pretty open still, but with the bans being right around the corners, maybe it's a good idea to pick your mid laner here. Again, I think Empti is not the biggest fan of Gadget at the moment in the meta, so I think Gadget would be a fine pick here, but he could always go for like a Howitzer, he could always go for something else, or he could just like not pick anything at all. I think Immune also has the problem that they don't really want to pick their offlaner too soon, like Morose, really good, like we've seen him Grux today, we've seen him Saras today. So, like, they probably don't want to give an easy counter pick over to the side.
Yeah, just wondering which direction they want to take. Where does that counter pick going to fall? Is it going to be in mid lane, or we're going to wait a little bit longer? But no, this time Team Immune actually going to lock in the Twin Blast as well. Most likely going, of course, into the ADC role. I know we here at EU, there was a little bit of a flavor of the month pick with Twin Blast going into the mid lane, but most likely going into the hands of Nefty as well. Honestly, just one of those picks. He's been absolutely spamming that hero in his solo queue games as well. One of his most played, I believe. But there is the Zarus that you were mentioning earlier as well, Tang. So, Nef's positioning, we know it's good, but again, it's going to have to be absolutely perfect to get away from this Bellica and Zarus combination.
Yeah, it definitely does. With the long range engage, even the best positioning can be, can be used for Indecisive to get a good engage on. But with the Saras being picked up, I think there's a few ban options for them. Now that we go into the second bans of the game, I think the Grux might be a potential ban. I think the Saras fares not too well into the Grux, but also against the Sevarog, even though we saw the contrary today, they decide they don't want to play against Bondrewd Sevarog, and they're going to ban that away.
Yeah, well, we know what the Sevarog can bring when we do get to the late game. That giant ethereal cloak-wielding person with a hammer in his hand has just been taking over team fights so much, set up so much presence, but also seen a little bit of weakness from the Sevarog to be targeted early in some of those exchanges. Where do Team Immune go with their ban? Going to be the targeted one hitting towards Nyzah, the Kalari. Going to be off the board for this one. Of course, this Zarus could still be a jungle pick as well. We're not not 100% sure exactly where Indecisive want to go with this one. We are waiting on their 4th pick as well, so he's still waiting on the ADC, and that's going to be the Kira secured for Cabodani as well. And he's had a couple of games this tournament on the Kira, so already going to be feeling pretty warmed up on the pick.
Yeah, I think, and it's also one of Cabodani's better heroes. So I was almost expecting a Wraith to come out as well, but against the Chimera, like that can just cleanse, the back it up. Like he probably doesn't feel that it's the best hero, so just gonna pick the Kira together with the Saras. A lot of lockdown with the Gideon ultimate as well. Just gonna aim to use that ultimate. And we see the Steel being picked up. That's probably gonna be into potentially the Saras on that off lane. And then the last pick is gonna be the mid laner. Empti, pretty down his champion pool, but I'm almost expecting, like looking at this, there's almost a possibility of a counters in mid lane, because we know Indecisive also likes to play that counters. And that's what's going to happen. That's going to be a deny on Nyzah, and there's also going to be a counters in mid lane. Empti loves that hero. He has been playing it a lot recently.
Yeah, and I don't think I've actually, I kind of think I can remember the last time I've seen Empti play the Countess. More familiar with him playing those traditional mages. As you say, I was almost expecting something like a howitzer maybe to come in, or that gadget as you alluded to earlier. But no, we're going to get a bit of spice, going to get some fireworks coming into this game with the Countess in the mid lane, and Indecisive rounding out their composition with the Greystone. So again, we're not 100% certain what that offlaner is going to be, if it's Zaras or the Greystone, but the rest of the comp does round itself out.
Yeah, Greystone, Saras, that's a lot of sort of bruiserish characters that can deal out a lot of damage as well. The Greystone is known for being good into the Chimera as well, just wins out in terms of base stats. So when the Greystone does get ahead, he can just run down the Chimera. Obviously, the opposite is kind of true as well. So they've definitely sort of a swing matchup, but Chimera has easier ganks. So we know Shana loves to engage on his jungle, so we're gonna have to wait if Shana can make it work in this game.
Well, we're gonna have to wait for Shana, but we also do not have to wait for Kana to go for the transition on production. Game is ready. Game number 1 of the grand finals. Let us know in Twitch chat, where do your allegiances lie? Is this the day that Team Immune lose a grand final? Or do they become your 5-time Fangbooth champions? We're going to have to find out. And just having a look across the board, Nyzah are going to be taking the Greystone into the jungle. Morose is going to be piloting that Zaras pick as well. I'm just going to look towards the start for both of these teams as well. Wondering if we're going to get any invades, or maybe just pushing to get some vision down in the opposition jungle, as we just get a nice long tab screen, just so we can definitely know 100% where everyone is. Looks like it's going to be a pretty standard start. No one really wanting to push the boat out in a game 1.
Immune doesn't really like to play those sort of flippy level 1s, because they probably think they are gonna win regardless if they just play default. Usually as the team with the Richter, you might be looking for some early invades, but they don't really have any ranged sort of setup for those Richter hooks. So it's going to be a bit hard. So they just opt to play safe, just make sure there's no funny warding business going on for Indecisive either.
Well, I'd say with that standard start, and we get to have a look at the individual lane matchups as well. And normally, when we see a Countess pick, I think that's kind of where we've got to start with as the only real standout pick to me, in terms of what we don't often see very much, playing the assassin in towards that mid lane Gideon as well. How do you think Empti's going to have to navigate this early game to try and get the most out of that Countess pick?
Yeah, as a melee into a ranged, you're almost always gonna get poked out quite a bit. The main thing about playing into a Gideon is just that you always break the tether as soon as possible. Then also what abilities you opt to start with. If you start with your RMB or your E, the Evil Tide, then it's gonna be pretty hard to actually escape if the Gideon all ends after level 2. But as it stands, she doesn't really look like she's losing too much HP. So we are just going to head over to the offlane, because that one is looking a bit rougher for Bondrewd.
Yeah, Morose already with that level 2, just pressuring out Bondrewd. You're going to tick over to the level 2 pick once again. And this is what we always look towards with the offlane, is kind of which team is able to unlock this pick out of the offlane and rotate them over to the mid lane, rotate them into the jungle, and also for those first Fangtooth and Mini Prime picks as well. As you can see, Steel not having the best of starts against Morose on that Zaris pick. Probably to be expected, is to be fair, but also with Bondrewd on that steal, has got the bit of the insurance policy about that pick, waiting for level 6. As speaking of rough old times, Empti forced under the tier 1 tower. TehAssid winning out early in the mid lane, has got that level advantage and able to get a bit of vision down in this jungle.
Yeah, he knows where the Chimera is now as well. He knows he full cleared, so did Greystone on the other side of the map. Chimera, though, is looking towards the mid lane now. Meanwhile, a bit of hook missing on the dual lane. Bondrewd also getting forced out. River buff timing, though, doesn't look like either team gets one.
Well, as I say, both junglers, did make their presence known. Greystone actually going to pilot path straight through the jungle as well. Actually going to jump on towards Empti, get a bit of pressure. Cosmic Rift going to take a little bit of the damage as well, and Empti really having to play this one safe. Might have to go for an early reset here. He did pick up that that river buff as well with the ability damage boost, so would absolutely love to be utilizing it, but he's going to be wasting a bit of time.
It's going to be wasting a bit of time, but remember, those are percentage based, so at the beginning, it's a nice buff to have, but you would much rather have something like the attack speed buff or the movement speed buff as a really close hook, just barely doesn't hit. But Shynn and Nefty, the dual lane of Immune, Richter and TB, really scary, but at the same time, Cabodani with ManQ on the Bellica can have more damage in the early game unless Shynn can land a really good hook.
Definitely a lot of pressure on Shynn, but as we have seen already this tournament, Shynn is one of those players, not just in this tournament, but also in PCC as well. The mechanics are definitely there. We've just got to wait for finding that impact as well. Empti having a pretty even trade with TehAssid inside the mid lane. So with that melee versus a range matchup as well. Looking towards the mini-map, Nyzah is here over on the duo lane, and Shynn and Nef forced over towards the gold buff. They're going to look for the engage to jump forward. ManQ needing to hit that seismic assault. Blink coming out from Shynn. So only the blink on the Richter burn, but Nyzah with the first gank.
Nyzah with the first gank also secures the gold buff for himself or for his carry. It does look like he gave that over to his ADC. I couldn't quite catch that. But I think another thing I wanted to mention in that mid lane is I think we are going to have a double Orb of Growth gameplay in the mid lane. I'm pretty sure that the Gideon is going to build it. I'm not 100% certain about Empti since he does have the mana bead. But yeah, I mean, certainly two sort of tanky mid laners in the mid game.
Well, for sure, especially with that Gideon as well inside of the black hole. Prodigy trying to make himself as safe as possible, especially with that Richter being piloted by Shynn as well, looking to interrupt it. As just having a little look towards the minimap as well. A bit of pressure towards his right-hand side. Shana is here as well, and Morose is quite far pushed up. Bull Rush going to come out from Bondrewd, knocking up Morose. Does still have evade, does still have blink, so I don't think he's in too much danger for now. Shana goes for the ambush, but there's the evade Spear from near for a bit of poke. But Morose holding on to the blink. Nyzah ganking that mid lane as well. Junglers making their moves, but no one dropping just yet.
Yeah, but at least it's the blink blown from Empti in the mid lane, so Nyzah's gank's just a bit better at the moment as we see Chimera looking at the thingy, as Richter also gets caught. TehAssid has to run away.
As Shana and is going to have Empti helping him out as well. Nyzah pushed underneath that tier 1 tower, and that does give Team Immune a little bit of momentum in towards his right-hand side. Shana now pushing into that river towards the right as well. But over here, Indecisive, it's all going their way in the duo lane. Shynn, unfortunately, missing yet another Riplash. Not quite found his aim just yet. We're still waiting on that big hook to land, but they do find themselves being pressured out. And this Indecisive duo lane definitely having the better in these opening 6 minutes.
That's also something you kind of expect in that lane. If Richter doesn't hit his hook, then Neft, as the TB, doesn't have the most damage. Kira definitely one of the more scary heroes. And then with ManQ piloting that Bellica, that mage you usually see in the mid lane in your solo queue games, like she dishes out so much damage that Shynn, even as the Richter, needs to be careful. But now, hook almost hits.
Yeah, ManQ just going to feel the breeze from that Riplash as it nearly connected to his left. But again, Shynn not finding the Riplash connection just yet. As they're just hovering around the map at the moment. Again, I'm looking towards the mini-map. Nyzah's in position on towards that duo side as Empti and TehAssid still heavily trading as well. Some vision coming down at the 3 wards being placed by Indecisive around that Fangbooth as both neutrals are going to be on the board at past the 7-minute mark. ManQ going to hit the first seismic assaults. Nyzah is here. Neft immediately respectful the blinks. Nyzah goes for the blink afterwards, and underneath the tier 1 tower, Nyzah just runs down Neft, and that's going to be a grand finals first blood for the Indecisive jungler.
First blood, Nyzah just not respecting it at all, just blinking into tower even when Richter has the Whiplash up, and Shynn just a bit too late with the reaction, just ends up getting a kill. Morose chasing off the steal managing to escape, but the Fangbooth is the retarget. Shynn is looking though.
Yeah, 4 members of Immune starting this up. Shin's going to walk towards Nyzah, trying to look for the silence. Good seismic assault comes out, knocking up the members, and Indecisive do secure it. TehAssid with the black hole, but it's still tanky, still able to last quite long, but Shana is down, and so does Shynn. Indecisive with a cracking start. 7 minutes in, they find the first Fangtooth and find 3 kills onto a Team Immune.
That looked like a tilt play. 2 versus 4, they run into the pit trying to contest the first Fangtooth, but the only thing that greeted them was pain. Just a really good chain utilization from that ultimate, and also with Nyzah using his ultimate in order to be able to smite out of it while being invulnerable, just secures that first Fangtooth of the game for them.
Yeah, really good heads-up play, of course, with Shynn playing in that Richter. That silence could have allowed a steal to go the way of Team Immune. And, of course, Indecisive with the heads-up play, and good play by Nyzah as well. So they are starting this game with the having the better start, as I say, with the kill lead, with the neutral objective lead. And honestly, in a lot of these lane matches, well, they have been the more healthy, but Cabodani is going to find himself being walked out by Shynn, having to blink away. Seismic Assault does come out, but Cabodani is able to get away, and now ManQ doesn't have the mana. Nef still dealing the damage, still hitting the grenades, hitting the piercing shot. ManQ holds the blink until the last possible moment, gets away, but that's 2 blinks burned in Indecisive.
That's the one guy you can always count on for Immune. The Neft and Shynn duo lane just really making it everything up, winning the 2v2, but not getting a kill, but at least getting 2 blinks. And with a Kai in the jungle, that's certainly one thing that is very scary, as we see Shana looking towards the mid lane. But that's probably just going to be a reset. I really expect Immune to play around the duo lane next, but keep in mind, Mini Prime is up, Fangtooth is not up, so.
Yeah, with Morose actually keeping Bondrewd underneath this tier 1 tower as well. Going to make that mini prime play, as we're expecting the next fight to be around a lot more difficult as well. Shana is at least coming off of the reset, and with Morose pushed up this far, Shana might have a way to get here, but look towards the mini map. Nyzah is also here as well. Bondrewd with the shield slam blink going to come out, ambush to follow. The call does not find the stun, and now Nyzah is here with the leap on towards Bondrewd, just hitting onto down. Colosseum comes down, it can't get on towards the steal, and Bondrewd is out. And now fighting in this Colosseum. Shana is still caught, stunned up by the barricade, but both members are all going to walk away. But that was so close.
That was really close, but it forced out the blink again for both offlaners. And with no blinks up, I think that obviously, that honestly favors the Saras, because there's no way to disengage from the Colosseum. But all in all, we see Morose playing pretty safe, using the dash also to get away from the Kal from Venom. So really heads up play by him. So we have a bit of a look on the scoreboard. We have 3 kills over to the side of Indecisive, but CS scores that even.
Oh, very even start. It looks like just off camera on that screen, we had actually got a kill. We don't know how it started, but we do know the result. That's Neft getting Team Immune on the board for their first kill of this grand final series as well. And I want to say that, that was Shynn hitting that Whiplash, but unfortunately, not quite able to catch it on camera.
Yeah, well, I think we can probably say it was Shynn hitting it. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Shynn needs some praise after we saw him miss a few of those so far. But now we're looking at more trading. As we mentioned before, Mini Prime is up. Gideon is making his way over to the offlane as we see more trading.
Yeah, TehAssid is just going to bump in towards Empti as well, but Morose and Bondrewd, blinks are down, and Shana's here once again. Nyzah is currently in the mid lanes. There's going to be mid lanes rotating over. Shana ambushing on towards Morose. There's a kill in the right-hand side, but we're staying with the left as Morose is going to drop, and so does Cabodani on the opposite side. Team Immune finding these kills, and it's now 3-4.
And Shynn hit a really insane hook right there to secure. I mean, obviously we didn't see it, but we can imagine that happened. I'm pretty sure it did.
316 no scope Whiplash. I mean, he missed that one on the screen as well. But Nyzah is going to be making his presence known over on this left-hand side. Going to run down Neft once again. You just see the damage starting to stack up here, and there's nothing that Shynn can do to stop it. ManQ is the one that benefits from the kill, but Nyzah really proactive in his opening 12 minutes.
Yeah, really proactive. Just knows his damage so well as well. Just runs at the TB, and the counter play is to die as soon as possible so you can respawn again. But with that being said, Empti and Bondrewd start up the mini prime on the other side of the map, while Fangtooth hasn't quite started spawning yet. So they have a timing right here where they can just get the mini prime reset and maybe contest that Fangbooth afterwards.
Again, especially with that mini prime going on towards Shana, does use that hunt as well to secure it for himself. Gonna reset, go back to base, spend some of that hard-earned gold, and come back and try and maybe find an answer over on this duo side. As you say, that Fangtooth is going to be the next objective coming up, and Team Immune. You know, this is uncharacteristic, I want to say, of what we've seen from Team Immune, playing a pretty good, clean tournament so far. But Indecisive, you know, having a better start to this one. But, you know, you still have Nefty, you still have Empti. And, you know, even if they're not getting kills, they're still farming. That CS score feels so close throughout this entire game. In the mid lane, though, Empti is actually going to be losing that tier 1 tower as TehAssid going to push it in. And now rotating over towards his left-hand side. It's going to be a potential 4 versus 4 for this next Fangtooth, as there's Empti still in that mid lane.
Should be able to push that out pretty quickly though, but Nyzah is close by. They're debating whether they want to start it quite yet. Doesn't look like they are confident enough. Empti in the meanwhile lost his tier 1, but he's still up in CS, 125. So even though he's not really on lane, he is doing fine. But Gideon coming in mid lane.
Yeah, TehAssid looking to find that cosmic breach damage as the jungles are here. TehAssid going to pull the trigger with the black hole. Blink coming out from Shana to get away. Empti in a 1 versus 2. Still poking with that even side, looking to try and get some healing going. Shana still sticking around. ManQ hits the seismic assault. Empti having to get away. They're going to look to turn on towards this counter. He's just going to find himself in the waiting arms of Nyzah, and that's Empti down. Shana looks for the play. Ambushes cool stun on towards TehAssid, but he just simply blinks away. It's just going to simply fall as well. Nyzah picking up a 2nd kill.
And Cabodani in the dual lane just solo kills Nefty as well. Disaster for Immune, just losing everywhere at this point. 3 kills over 2 Indecisive for 0. Fangtooth is the reward as well. And just honestly, Nyzah playing really well on the Greystone, just having so much pressure everywhere it feels like, and really piloting that Greystone to like a good extent.
Yeah, even with, I would say, towards these lanes, you know, only having like ManQ able to provide, you know, that seismic assault for the setup, he's not really needed it in any of these areas. He just simply walks on towards these members. Shynn actually going to maybe catch on to TehAssid, follows with the torn space. One more basic. TehAssid is just too far away. Shynn underneath the tower. Empti is here with the blink forward, and is going to secure the kill. And Empti able to get another stack of that blood type passive.
Yeah, he gets another stack. He also has the orb finished, the orb of enlightenment. So has the Gideon. So both of them are stacking quite well. Gideon also opting to go into that soul bearer. So that guy does not want to die whatsoever, making sure to have some sort of outplay potential against the counters that is going to scale really well. That's one of the things that Immune still has for themselves. They have the TB, a lot of damage in the late game, and they also have the counters that is very elusive. A lot of damage together with the steel lockdown in that offlane as well.
And they do have quite a lot of that single target damage as well, you know, as you say, with Neft and also with Empti as well. In contrast to Indecisive, you know, a lot of big AoEs. So we're just wondering how that's going to play out in these jungle fights when we get it. Empti making the moves from the mid lane, Shadow slipping on towards Cabodani. There's the feast, there's the damage Neft's going to provide. Empti's going to cash in, getting himself a kill as a Team Immune still signs of life, making up for those earlier plays. But reinforcements starting to arrive. ManQ actually go for the reset here, and TehAssid is called off. So it's Team Immune finding a kill, and now Bondrewd is in trouble underneath this tier 1 tower, giving him the ring around the rosies, but Nyzah is just there, and wherever he goes, kills are going to follow.
Guys are gonna follow just a sleepy rhino being sprayed on the ground, but yeah, that was his last signs of life. They're gonna secure the kill onto Bondrewd, are gonna collect the tier 1 off the back of it as well. So with a good play on the dual lane, it is being matched with a good play on that off lane, but Shynn is close by.
So just waiting for that Rib Clash to connect. Nyzah still has Stone for Soul. Empti here once again. Going to use the skill, going to try and burn him down, but he does get the ultimate off. Gives him a new lease of life, but he still only has half HP. Shana here once again. Nyzah just throwing out the basics. Neft is here as well. Ventilating the kill, gifted over to the AD carry. 2, 3, and 2. A Neft on the Swim Blast.
gifting it over to that one guy you really don't want to get the shutdown. Neft is so dangerous once he has a few more items, and he is gonna collect the shutdown on the Greystone. They did a bit of a role swap, a lane swap. The Steel is gonna hold the dual lane. Meanwhile, Neft is gonna look for the off lane instead. Secured that kill already, so definitely a good thing for him. As we see Steel not really under pressure against those two ranged heroes that Indecisive have to offer quite yet.
Yeah, they have to actually back away from the steal once again. Morose actually finding himself in the mid lane, just going to be hit by the Purge, hit by the Riplash, hit by the Cull as well. But a good blink comes out and Morose survives all of that damage.
Oh, that looked so good. Just really well chained. Hard CC, but in the end, it was just a bit too much of a tanky hero, Saras. I think also if the silence went off a bit later by Shynn, instead of chaining it with the hard CC, they might have had enough to kill him before the blink comes out. But even then, it's still the Saras blink. You're probably happy with that. It's a bunch of ults invested, but for the Fangbooth fight, most of them should be up again.
We know 18 minutes into the game. So having a little look around the mini-map, Tier 1 tower, mid lane and right-hand side falling for Team Immune. But for Indecisive, Tier 1 tower, left-hand side, ManQ going to run in towards Bondrewd, has got the bull rush. It's able to get away. A grouping up here, mid lane and the left-hand side, is just waiting on those next neutrals to spawn as well. But Bondrewd kind of staring down 3 members here. Nyzah is over here as well. So is the dual lane coming from that lane swap. Empti and Shynn in the mid lane. TehAssid goes for the black hole. That's going to be enough to get members of Team Immune away from the mid lane. But ManQ for the loop around, maybe looking for that seismic assault. Gotta find it though. Immune completely retreating out of the play, but you have to still respect the Riplash. You can still respect that engage that can come out from Shana. But Morose goes with the Colosseum, a blink out from Shynn, but Shana is stuck inside of the pit as well. TehAssid, the Nyzah going forward. Stoneforge Soul gets the slow, gets the damage, but Nyzah's all on his lonesome, trying to get away. Meanwhile, Cabodani chasing down Bondrewd, but this 4v4 fight still going on. Morose going low, Empti getting the kill on towards Nyzah, and Nefty is here. Full HP, half mana, just needs to connect the last few basics and quite got the jukes on Morose, but the inevitable does come, and Nef getting another kill. But Cabodani from the left-hand side goes forward, the blink and the purge coming out, has to cancel. Riplash from Shynn coming down, but it actually gets Nef killed, and Cabodani is able to collect. Now it's Shynn who has to retreat, has to get away. ManQ leading the charge, but Empti is here, even tied, and even damage coming out from the contest. ManQ having to blink away. Empti follows with the shadow slip, and that's another one falling. Now TehAssid, the next on the chopping block, gets to his tier 1 tower, but Indecisive losing 4.
They're losing 4, and honestly, most of that comes off the back of Empti. We saw Nef just looking a bit comically right there, missing a lot of his shots, but Empti, meanwhile, in the backline, just absolutely deleted everyone. And then after Cabodani uses everything to blink forward, it's also just more kills for free for Empti with that sort of tanky counters build, still with a lot of damage. But now Nyzah is trying to contest that Fangbooth.
Yeah, Shana is still here, so this will be a 50-50. If Nyzah can get into the pits, Bondrewd on zoning duty with the bull rush. TehAssid following up as well. Nyzah goes into the pit, all eyes onto the notification. Call comes down. Immune going to secure the Fangbooth, but the black hole, the combination, it might cost them more as they've lost Empti, and now they're going to maybe lose Shana as well. He's looking for a blink, looking for a way out, but not going to find it. Immune get the Fangbooth, but they're going to lose 3 off the back of it.
Prime is up. We see all of them heading over towards the mid lane. We could maybe see them head over to the Prime. A good ward by Shynn. It's going to make sure to at least spot it out, but still, they have a bit of a timer. 20 seconds for the jungler for him to respawn. Now they're starting it up. 4 members, 5 members, everyone on that Prime. Shynn is trying to play distraction duty.
Yeah, he's going to be spotted on the warding coming out as well. Neft is here once again. Shynn trying to... They don't want to give this up without contest, but Neft's going to try and hit the damage. Riplash not going to connect. All Prime still doing a lot of damage. Nyzah in the Stoneforge Soul to give himself more life, and that's All Prime going to be secured. Now Shynn and Neft need to get out of dodge. They need to get away. As Riftwalkers comes out from Shynn with the Impale. The Shield Slam on top. Look at the damage. Look at the knock-up. So is it going to be enough? Neft still throwing out the damage. It's a 1-for-1 off of that combination. Indecisive need to get away, but Bondrewd leading the charge with the blink. The shield boot onto the stun for TehAssid, who just has to use his own blink. Indecisive get away with the All Prime, but Cabodani's not got the purple buff.
They get away with murder. They get the prime. Only one player falling. It looked so good. That skewer onto 4 members from Shynn, but it ends up getting interrupted, I think, by ManQ right there. Otherwise, that must be like a team wipe angle with Bondrewd also arriving with a good shield slam. But in the end, it's a lot of low members. But with that prime still remaining on 4 members of Indecisive, only Cabodani dropping, that's definitely a winning play for them.
We knew that this grand finals was going to be hype. We knew there was going to be fireworks, and man, oh man, it does not disappoint. Both these teams absolutely going at each other. The kills, it's only a 3 kill difference. Yes, in favor of Immune, but hey, you know, that's pretty standard for Team Immune with the power farming coming out from their team as well. But 22 minutes in, this game still feels relatively neck and neck. It's Indecisives or Prime, the only real difference maker here.
Yeah, it definitely is, but now we have to wait and see what they can do with it. Like with that prime, they get a bunch of gold, they get XP, but now the question is, how can they translate that? How can they take those towers? We see them going into a 1-1-3, 3 members on that offlane, gonna secure at least the tier 1. Meanwhile, we see Morose still split pushing on that offlane, we see Gideon pushing down the mid lane, and we see Team Immune just defending the jungle.
Yeah, they do have to be careful as well as the poke starting to come out. Cabodani taking a little bit of damage, but you know, he's the one without the All Prime as well. Riplash connects, but there is a Liberator proc, and Shynn looking for the play, but now Nyzah in the backline on towards Nef. The Shynn was locked up in the cast animation, sidesteps to sides the assault, but he is next to fall, and that's Nyzah getting the kill on towards Shynn. Cabodani, meanwhile, hitting onto this tier 2 tower, going to stick around a little bit longer, but Immune starting to pull back, and Indecisive complete control over this left-hand side.
Complete control, really good. A cleanse by Cabodani, making sure that he doesn't fall off there. Nefty still defending the turret, is gonna keep on hitting those RMDs on Cabodani to make sure he can't reach any HP. With that, they're gonna back off. Ceres, though, on the other side, collects the tier 2, more money in his pockets. We see Empti and Shana try to defend the mid wave. Does look like they are not gonna be successful. Shana looking in between. Nyzah pushing into tier 2.
You got TehAssid as well, following him in. That tower, the smoke, the fire is so low, the minions are the ones that finish it. But I don't think any of Indecisive were around to cash in on the gold, as the minions do take it down. Empti pushing forward, trying to get someone maybe on a lazy recall here. Your Prime still ticking away. He's going to run out in a couple of moments, but the Indecisive really have made it work as well. Shana just being forced out of his own jungle, but has got to be careful here. Immune, you know, in position around that mid lane as well. Duo lane is there in mid. Morose trying to help Nyzah clear some of this camp away before it could get taken away. Bondrewd on the right-hand side. Nef currently split pushing. Going to run over the wards. They do know he's here. So it's a numbers advantage for the side of Indecisive. But I think there's going to be a lot of resets coming out. Empti looking to maybe try and find a pick. You know, Eventide not going to connect on towards ManQ. Can't find TehAssid either. That gives Indecisive time to cash in.
It gives them time to cash in. Also, the prime should have expired by now, but now we see a bunch of items being completed. Like we saw Neft and Empti being ahead of their counterparts, but I think that has flipped now with that prime play. So we see Empti looking into red side.
ManQ is actually going to be waiting for him. Hits a seismic assault. Riplash going to go down. Can't connect onto ManQ. Having to blink away. Nyzah is here. Empti is out once again. They look for the play, but they could not find it. And they're having to retreat. But this is what Immune do so well. They play around their team. They play around these picks. 3 members grouping up inside the mid lane. Indecisive going to watch. That Fangbooth on the left-hand side is spawning. Nyzah and Empti nearly bumping into each other. Empti level 15. As well on this counter has been an absolute farming machine. ManQ is currently isolated. Bondrewd maybe looking for the play. The ball rush. Nice seismic assault comes down from ManQ, and there's the purge as well. Bondrewd goes for the shield slam, but a blink away. Nefty just pumping the damage. They've got ManQ. Shynn with the impale on the backline. Black hole trying to get the damage back, but Nefty is the one who's still alive. He's still dealing this damage, being ran at by Nyzah. Stoneforge Soul is going to come out the slow to try and get a pick on towards Neft as Nyzah just jumps forward, but Neft holds that blink for so long. Whilst all that was going on, there was still another team fight, but there's a combination. Empti and Neft linking up to take down Nyzah. Now TehAssid in a 1 versus 2. He doesn't have the black hole, he just needs to connect the abilities. Morose Colosseum stacks onto Neft, and now looking towards Empti. Blade Siphon gets a little bit of healing back, but Empti's on the retreat. Such a long, drawn-out team fight. Morose with the blink onto Empti, gonna find the kill. And now Shana looking for TehAssid because Neft is down. The 2 final members. Bondrewd has come back with full HP and full mana. Now Indecisive are the ones who have to get away.
Dude, the mid laners are so tanky in this game with orb being collected on both of them. They just heal so much when they spam those abilities with a lot of CDR in their pockets as well. But yeah, I just really want to highlight Nefty as well. Cabodani getting caught at the beginning of the fight. Meanwhile, Nef dished out so much damage. He also baited Nyzah again, and then Empti collected that kill. The two of them just really buying so much time that in the end, Bondrewd together with Shana could rejoin into that fight and secure that kill onto Gideon as well. All in all, I don't even know how many members dropped. I'm gonna be frank with you, but at the end of it, we come back to a sort of even game state. We see both objectives though being up.
Yeah, no, that fight just starting outside of the pit, and it's kind of crazy to think that there's no actual resulting play towards it. Bondrewd nearly getting caught out there, but he's going to run into Morose. Let's go back as there's going to be the knock-up. Riplash comes down from Shynn, and the shield slam also followed as well, but still having to retreat. And with that shield slam down, that means that this next objective fight, that engage, not going to be as strong for the side of Team Immune, but Morose is low. At least he may have to go for a reset before this next fight. Empti currently left-hand side as well. Indecisive, all 5 members looking towards its Orb Prime as Morose over towards the right-hand side, trying to get some health regen back before this upcoming fight. A lot of posturing, a lot of positioning by both of these teams, with Shana making the move in towards the pit as well. Might start this up or might be sweeping away the vision as Team Immune going for the pretty standard setup to look for this Orb Prime. But actually in the mid lane, Shin's looking for the Riplash, not going to find it.
Not gonna find it. He's fishing though. He's close to the river, just making sure that maybe one of those connects one of those times, and then it's just a one team fight off of that if they manage to get Cabodani early. But Cabodani good with his cleanses. Remember, he probably has it up quite at the moment, so at least take that off of him. As we see all 5 members in the mid lane from Indecisive. More posturing. We see wards on both objectives for Immune. Not quite the case, but Cabodani gets caught in the mid lane.
Able to use the shadow slip to get away. Nyzah going forward. The Riplash connecting down on towards Empti. Empti taking so much damage. Nyzah looking towards him. Purge coming out, looking for the regen. The knockup is good, but the black hole's even better. And it's going to be only to pick on towards Empti. And now Shynn, the next target. 3 members going to look towards this Richter, and the Richter is down. 2 picks for the side of Indecisive, and they pull straight the way towards this Orb Prime.
They go for the Prime. We do see Neft heading over to the river. The question is, do they want to trade for Fangtooth? They are not. They're just going to reset. They're not even going to contest that Prime. The second big Prime of the game for Indecisive, just secured with no contest. But we see the side of Immune at least pushing out those waves, making sure that the Prime play is not going to be game ending for them.
Yeah, I mean, just the team play coming out from Indecisive as well, matching Team Immune in a lot of these plays, you know, and Cabodani holding his nerve as Empti tried to go for the assassinate onto him. Of course, with the team following up as well, Empti was the one who dropped, and then Shynn just caught out and the next to fall. Bondrewd looking for maybe a contest, but with Shana here, shield slam onto the backline. Maybe Cabodani goes for an early purge, the black hole as well, on towards Bondrewd, but Bondrewd just walks away, and that's 2 ultimates down as Indecisive still dealing damage towards this Primal Fangtooth. It does go their way, and still 5 members. Neft looking for the damage, not going to find it as they've actually grabbed the kill on towards Bondrewd on the right-hand side. So Indecisive finding the Orb Prime, finding Primal Fangtooth, and still finding kills.
And they're still finding kills. Steel going down right there. Empti canceling a reset though. Is gonna ult ManQ, and ManQ blinks away. Empti is gonna get knocked up. Is gonna try to follow this. No blink on Empti, so ManQ might just get away. Does get hit though, and counters at least gets one of those kills back.
Oh, you know, just in a grand final, you can't do that. ManQ caught on the lazy recall, and Empti punishes, eventually punishes, mind you. You know, it was a good blink away, but of course, this contest does have that shadow slip to dash onto your target and dash away again. So now Indecisive once more will only have the buffs on 4 of the 5 members. ManQ 30 seconds away. Not really looking for a fight. I imagine Indecisive wanting to wait for all 5 members, but this is good play by Team Immune, just waiting out those double buffs to end.
Yeah, by the time that ManQ has respawned, the big Prime is almost gone, especially when he has to make the rotation all the way from his spawn to the enemy spawn. So, with only the Primal Fangtooth as a siege tool, it would be a lot harder. But we see Immune grouping up in the red side. They might want to spring a trap, but Indecisive is aware of it. We see Saros also making the way. The Colosseum is very scary.
Yeah, just looking for one member to push forward, someone to be caught out in that Colosseum to be stacked. There is the Colosseum on towards Bondrewd. Nyzah is finally here, and Bondrewd having to use a shield slam to get away, but that's both offlaners will be without their game-changing ultimates. It looks like we have a bit of a siege coming on here. Once again, your Prime is still on board for Indecisive, but ManQ's death meant that this siege is going to be very delayed. Empti is quite, you know, he's just in that jungle entrance on the left-hand side. Morose pushing in minions. Indecisive, Team Immune still have the potential. Shynn hits the Riplash on towards Morose. The black hole over the top underneath this inhibitor. Nef still keeping himself alive. Bondrewd going low, having to blink away, but Shana might be in trouble. Gonna fall. Immune starting to lose members as well. Nyzah going into the backline. Stoneforge Soul is gonna pop, but Immune have lost 3 members. They've lost Shana, they've lost Bondrewd, they've lost Shynn as well. It's only Nef and Empti, the 2 power players for Team Immune to defend this base. Right lane inhibitor is going to drop. They have to go back to their base, but ManQ with the Seismic Assault can't find it. Empti with the Shadow Slip, looking to regen, looking to delay, maybe find another kill. He just needs to buy some time, but the Cosmic Breach comes down and TehAssid shuts that down. Immune losing 4 members and Indecisive breaking open this base.
Breaking open the base. They are looking towards the mid inhib. Are gonna get the 3 members still up. Richter. There are 10 seconds for him to respawn. They're gonna dive Nef though in the under core. They are gonna force out his blink. Nefty surviving, but they're still sieging.
Yeah, they're still hitting onto the core. Nefty able to get away with the rocket dash. ManQ going low. The core able to help out. And now with the jump pad, Shynn is here looking to try and get some kills. Riplash goes wide. Can't lock down on towards ManQ. And it looks like Indecisive might be able to get away. But Team Immune want some revenge. They want to get the exit frags. But Indecisive might be too far gone. Can Shynn find a Riplash? Yes, he can on towards Nyzah. Skewered up. Freeze frame. How did Nyzah get here? He's going to try and get away. Forces to blink. The Stoneforge Soul comes back off cooldown just in time, but Nyzah is stuck in a 1v3. Body blocked to high hell and back. Cabodani arrives. ManQ here once again, and Immune having to back away. They tried to get the pick, but they only burn the ultimate on that Greystone.
They just don't have enough in the tanks to actually finish him off, with Empti and Nef not being there to dish out the damage. So 2 inhibs going over to the side of Indecisive. They have the 3 Fangtooths of the game as well, giving them extra stats. So really looking hard for Immune to come back off of this, but never count them out. Like, we have Empti with 4.5 items, so does Neft. Already 5 items completed for him, with that Ortis probably stacked up to quite a decent extent as well. Now we see Morose, we see Indecisive. They're playing the map, they're trying to make the short, but Cabodani is getting caught by Empti. Is gonna Shadow Slip away. Empti kind of one hit right now.
Cabodani playing this out well. Nyzah is here. TehAssid about to follow. And Empti having to get away. Now Shynn might be the one who's going to fall. Rift Walkers to just use it as a dash. TehAssid here hitting the damage. Riplash going to connect good. Liberate comes out. And that's Shynn falling. The Richter is down. Cabodani getting the kill. And this means that Indecisive can still pile on this pressure once again. Neutrals are not on the board just yet. Primal Fangtooth moments away from spawning. The Orb Prime will be up soon as well. Now Indecisive have to make a decision that goes against what their team is called, but they've got to choose it. Do they push or do they go for the neutrals? And it looks like Primal Fangtooth might be the play, but Shana's still on the board. Bondrewd is still here. Immune banking on a play around this neutral objective. Bondrewd going to scout this out. They know it's being started up. Shana's currently in the mid lane as well. Nyzah in the pit. All eyes going to be on this Chimera, maybe looking for a contest, but Immune decide and they think otherwise. And maybe give this over, and that's going to be a conceded objective. But Shana making his move over towards the right-hand side and get ready for an all-prime fight.
Yeah, now the Primal Fang is secured by Indecisive. That makes the Prime tech really easy for them, though. But on the flip side, we have Richter respawning, so maybe with 5 people, they feel confident enough to try something. Remember, Sarah's Cage is really hard in those sort of fights, but Bondrewd is walking in.
Yeah, Primal Fangtooth is also going to be fully stacked at this point. This team fight could be dangerous. This team fight could decide it all. Bondrewd hits a stun onto multiple members. Got to be careful. Popping the raids about the bull rush. Morose goes on towards the Nefty. They need to take down this Twin Blast. They need to find the kill. Cabodani's out though. ADC for ADC. It's all on the other 4 members. As looks like they're just going to pick down. They're going to focus their fire down into Team Immune, losing Bondrewd once again. TehAssid getting the kill. Empti forced away. Shynn is out, but so is Shana, and that means Indecisive going to start back up the Orb Prime once again. They're actually going to go over the top with the Torn Space, and they've got the pick on towards Empti. That's the Countess down for this fight. Beautiful utilization of the Gideon kit. Shana going for the reset, but Indecisive, their health bars are so low.
They're so low. Shynn is looking, so is Shana. ManQ kind of baiting at the entrance. We see Greystone with no mana in the pit is gonna get knocked away. Shana, though, resetting. Might not want to contest this. Is walking into the pit now, though. ManQ is the target. It's gonna blink away.
Right, total attention. If they can get Shana, this is a 3-all prime. Coliseum comes down, wants to look for the stack, and they're gonna find the kill on towards the Team Immune jungler and back towards the all prime once again. Only Shynn is here. He's gotta make a hero play, maybe try and find something, but it's not all prime secured for Indecisive, and Shynn is the one that's going to drop Team Immune, all 5 members off of the map, and Indecisive looking to close out this game.
Yeah, they're pushing down the 2 lanes that they have for members with that buff. We see Cabodani also making his way over. Who's defending? It's only Nefty and Bondrewd. 10 seconds for Empti to respawn, but with waves being pushed up, that might be a problem.
Yeah, with all 3 members turning towards the core as well. They don't have Cabodani. ManQ is a nice slice because all on towards Bondrewd, but the core was a target. The core has been taken down. Team Immune drop a game at long last. Indecisive will take game 1 in the grand finals.